The toll and cost of alcoholism or a drug addiction spreads beyond the individual, affecting family, work, and society. The issues facing a family in this situation are huge. How do you survive? And how do you love and care for someone with the disease of addiction? Someone whose ability to reason has been negatively affected by the chemical of their addiction, who cannot be trusted as they proceed down a personal path of destruction. As that spouse or parent, you are well aware of the emotional toll and turmoil. Now what do you do? At times you want to run away. At times you want to hide your head in the sand. What do you do? I will cover a few areas in this video that I hope will be helpful. Firstly, do all you can to educate yourself. It will help to know as much as you can about this disease of addiction. You can start by viewing the video, The Disease of Addiction, on the Fractured Resilience website. Contact SAMHSA, the United States Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They have a lot of great information. Their contact information can be found on the Fractured Resilience webpage under the heading Help for Addiction. Educate yourself about recovery programs and the different levels of care. It is important that the care provided is the most appropriate for the problem and the individual's illness. Recovery programs do a process called an intake, the purpose of which is to recommend the most appropriate level of care. Do not be offended if they do not share any information with you. They are held to the highest standard of confidentiality and will only share information if your loved one signs a release of information form called an ROI. Also, do not be offended if they do not take your phone calls to schedule an appointment for your loved one. An important part of recovery is taking personal responsibility, meaning it is expected that your loved one make their own appointments. Learn the steps you should take should there be an emergency. You should have Narcan available at home. It can be obtained by a prescription that can be written by your physician or by a pharmacist. In other parts of the world, it may be more easily available. Bottom line is just have it on hand and don't be afraid to use it if you suspect an overdose. Get to know your local recovery programs. Many of them will have programs for family members, and they will be very happy to help. It can be very helpful to walk this difficult path with peers who are also on that path. This is a common problem, and there is a good chance you already know another family experiencing the same difficulties. You may also connect with peers at and family support groups or online groups. Your local recovery programs will have some helpful suggestions. Being part of a group that allows you to freely share, ask for help, and provide help to others can be a lifesaver. Do not neglect yourself. If you see your family barely hanging together, then that is not the time for you to be overwhelmed to the point of collapse or becoming physically ill. As difficult and intense as the situation may be, take time for you. It is necessary. Go for a walk, read a good book, pet the dog, take a friend out for coffee, and definitely take time to deliberately write down the things you are thankful for. This exercise of writing what you are thankful for should be a daily activity that can prevent you from drowning in the pit of negative despair. If you have medical issues, make sure they are properly taken care of. See your doctor, take your prescriptions as prescribed, and take care of routine health maintenance like getting your teeth cleaned. This is a very stressful time for you and your family. If you have personal issues with addiction, take care of yourself. Go to meetings, talk to your sponsor, value your recovery. Be conscientious about your diet. Don't stop eating and don't drown your sorrows in carbs. Depending on the situation, this may also be a time to put away any substance that could trigger a relapse with the addicted family member. It may not be a problem for you, but to the addict, just a tiny bit of permission with the use of alcohol, marijuana, or pain medication may have the power to trigger a fatal relapse. You should view your home as a recovery home, because to some degree you are all in recovery and should do everything possible to promote that recovery. You would not think too highly of a recovery clinic that had a liquor cabinet or acted as a marijuana dispensary or passed around oxycodone for any minor complaint of pain. If pain medicines are absolutely necessary, then they need to be kept in a locked safe, and used as prescribed by a medical professional. You need to learn to set boundaries. If you want to generate some sense of peace in your home, this is the most important step. You will not be able to treat your loved one with compassion without establishing boundaries. Boundaries can be and often are life-saving, both for your addicted family member and for your own sanity. The best way to establish boundaries is with a well-thought-out family behavior contract. This will take time to develop and should involve everyone in the household. In the PDF section on the Fractured Resilience website, there is a sample of a family contract. Download the sample and use it as a framework to establish a contract for your family. The sample contract applies to families. Contracts should also be done for spouses, roommates, or friends struggling with addiction who live in or visit your home. A contract is a way of establishing and balancing responsibilities, rewards, and predetermined consequences. It will help to eliminate emotionally charged conflicts. The initial groundwork for the contract should be between the authority figures in the home. It will be important for you to be in agreement to be able to carry out the contract successfully. It may also be necessary to get outside help to establish a contract. Someone who could act as a mediator, like another family member, a friend, a pastor, a counselor, or someone recommended by your local recovery program. The more difficult situation is to set boundaries with a spouse who has a substance use disorder. In this situation, it may be best to ask for outside help. Setting boundaries is important work. I will have a full video in the near future on boundaries and their importance. Now that you've drawn up your contract, had your family meeting, and everyone has signed the contract, it will be important to stick to that contract. If you stick to it, it should significantly reduce frustration and anger. Discipline should be unemotional. It may be very helpful to have someone else that you report to regarding the implementation of your contract. It will also be important to regularly reevaluate the contract. It is your family's contract. You can change it to suit your family. However you do change it, just stick to it. There is a lot of shame, guilt, and stigma in our society about addiction and having someone in your home who is suffering from addiction. Your family situation may impact how you are viewed by other family members, your work colleagues, neighbors, and friends. Yes, it is a condition that is filled with shame, but please do not let that shame stop you from seeking help. The burden you bear is enormous, and help is available. Look for help from friends who have gone through the same situation, your church, your local treatment and recovery programs. For more information and references regarding the disease of addiction, please see the Fractured Resilience website. Thank you.